Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today I have with me Sheila Thelen. Hey, Sheila.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Thanks for having me. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Yes, and I am so excited to have you and show people what you've got because, as we were talking earlier, I'm in a similar business and I had no idea what you were doing over there. So I'm so happy to share it. So just so people know who you are, I'm just going to read your short bio. Sheila Thelen is the president of Vestibular Training Services and a master rated figure skating coach. She talks about how spinning affects the vestibular system and how it can improve cognitive processes and the brain's ability to balance. So, and she has one of her spinners behind her. So, just so excited to get into this. So, just tell us your story. How did this all start?
So, how did it all start was I'm a figure skating coach, and really I've owned a harness and spinning company for about 28 years. So I really have coached to from beginning young children all the way through the Olympians have grown up on my gear worldwide. So all levels of skating and conferences and trade shows and events and so many projects worldwide with our harness company and skating. And I've loved it. I've always loved skating and the kids and the families and the chaos and the competition. I always really enjoyed it. And about 10 years ago, I was standing there speaking with a whole bunch of coaches in Colorado Springs, and they talked about all the problems that they had as coaches. And one of the first comments, one of the coaches standing next to me, we were drinking adult beverages, and like that. So the group's pretty happy and loud. And he says that his athletes got dizzy, and that little dinging in my head went off, and I went, dizzy? Oh man, my figure skaters never get dizzy. You can spin them like crazy, and they don't get dizzy because we've trained that out of them. And so then the next guy goes over and says, oh, I've got some dumb athletes. And I'm like, oh, no, no, figure skaters, super smart. I've got eighth graders taking college trig, like really brilliant children that have gone on to very advanced academics. So the rest of them all had their other problems and I just dismissed all of their problems because I didn't have those as a figure skating coach. And so my brain just started going insane, and it really hasn't stopped since. Suddenly my brain went, well, what am I doing differently than everyone else? And the answer was spinning. So the sport of figure skating spins like no other sport, and even differently than ballet. They spin too, but not like we do. So it just started this launch of like, well, wait a second. What more could we do? Could we help other sports? Could we do more things? Could we help the general population? So I always like to open up with all of these with, we keep saying the word vestibular over and over and over, vestibular training services, vestibular. And a lot of people don't even know what that is. And the answer is it's right in your inner ear. So if this is my ear and my eardrum, it leads into your vestibular system. And then that leads out to the cochlea. So you see a lot of kids with like cochlea implants that are deaf. But this is the section that's more on the processing side versus the hearing side. And with it, on the inside, they always refer to it as three semicircular canals. And these three canals control everything. They're connected to over 25 major functions, but we're going to talk about the main four that we talk about within our company. But on the inside is like a gooey gel. It's not water, it's more jelly-like. And on the inside of the canals is like a hair silica, like a little hairs. And on the outside of the canals, they always refer to it as crystals. So you'll hear about people that have, oh, I've got crystal problems and balance problems. And really, we see it in a lot of people that ride in Humvees or rodeo or joggers, car accidents, concussions, people that had a big jolt. Those little crystals can fall out of that outer canal and down into the canal. And it's kind of like driving on the freeway with a whole bunch of parked cars. Like the data isn't moving through that gel smoothly all those crystals are in the way. So this is where spinning really comes into play of the four biggest functions of the vestibular system. So there's one on each side, right inside your ears. They're tiny, and once again, semicircular canals is what they always refer to them as. So the four big things we talk about the most in our company is it's your entire balance system. So it's your balance, so rather than talking about how athletes and coaches have always taught balance, stand on one foot, stand on one foot, stand on one foot. I'm teaching it from those inner ears down, not from your feet up. So I'm taking balance from a totally different way than how it's always been taught. So we've got the balance side. We've got how fast your brain can process through that vestibular system, especially when those crystals can get out of the way and back into their original positions. In addition, we also talk about spatial. So vestibular and spatial, and the most obvious answer to that is like fighter pilots, police, fire, people with chaos jobs, yet at the same time, driving. As you drive your car, understanding that spatial around you to be able to move properly through it. And the fourth biggest thing of our company, sleep. Oh my goodness. So I have so many people with sleep issues that come to me and after they work with me just that one time, they'll be like, I slept, for the first time in years. And, that faster to REM sleep and that faster, just deep sleep. So this is what our project is. I'm obsessed. I always talk about my family sick of me because this is all I want to talk about. I'm obsessed with the vestibular system and how in spinning you, we can help fix both human performance and also rehabilitation as the same thing, not as two separate things.
So cool. So, describe what you do and maybe show people what you have behind you, that spinning apparatus there.
I spin you, okay? And I have to calm people as I'm going to just share the screen and show videos because it's crazy what I'm doing. We start very slow, gentle spinning. And it's really just a couple of turns, you rest, you go the other direction, a couple of turns, back the other way. Very gentle. It's almost like an electric lazy Susan is the best way to describe it. Although I can add I can add chaos to it where I can fly people up in the air and spin them. Or we have our rail system that's very slow and gentle. I'm just going to show some videos because it really is shocking to the point even NASA called me for some of these videos and we're like, how'd you do that? It was so fun. And even my family was impressed when NASA called. But so I'm going to quick screen share here. I'll control myself here not to do
Okay.
too much screen sharing because that's always
Right.
annoying.
Well,
Here, but
just and also describe what we're seeing because we're on video for the YouTube, but the podcast is on all audio.
perfect. So I will totally explain what we are looking at. So this is one of my most famous videos, and this is the video that NASA used in several of their presentations, their world presentations. So this is like an extreme case, but the kids are really good at it. It's the adults that aren't. Okay, the kids are geniuses at this. So we just start accelerating them on that electric platter. You can see David lifting her. It's a triple pulley. And oh my goodness, look at this girl spin. So she's turning 5.5 turns per second, not per minute, per second. And you can see with the braid, she's got the axis, the balance, the midline cross. She's spinning at incredible rates. She's following directions. She can talk. She can speed up. She can slow down. She can do all of that. And here she's about to tell us that she is not dizzy from this. Here we go. Amazing part to the whole story. Okay. How dizzy are you?
I'm not dizzy.
Not that dizzy. Not dizzy at all. Thanks. Have a great day. NASA was like, how'd you do that? That's amazing. So that's what we call our fly system. Although you don't have to always fly on it. You can still just stand on it and just gently turn, but there's really nothing to hold on to. So we actually made it even easier. So we made it even easier. So here's a quick video of I'm at the Detroit Pistons Performance Center, and I was able to work with several retired NBA players. And so this is actually, and when you see the video, it's kind of cute because I'm very short. I'm 4'10", but Pat Garrity is like 6'10", I mean, so he's a very large man. So it's not the camera angle. I really am that short and he really is that tall. But as he turns, what I love about this rail system is it's gentle, it's easy, there's something to hold on to. It just plugs into the wall. I can control it with the little control box right here. I control it with my foot. And it's just very gentle, easy turning. And we pre and post test people's balance. And with that, we can see that's how we can see the improvements in their balance, which is the easiest thing to test, especially out in the wilderness where I can plug in. So we're big fans of that rail system. We have our rail system, which is patent pending, and then our fly system, which is also patented. We have a US patent on our fly system. I'm going to quick show just one more great video here, just because I think this fly is so exciting. Because ultimately, I'm going to show this girl is not dizzy at the end, and I'm able to prove it because I'm going to throw things at her. I'm going to throw a Hiko stick at her, and then it's a three-pronged little throw device, but with it, you have to pick the color. So she has to also decision make at the end too. So through all this chaos and all this vestibular and all this training, at the end, she has to prove that she's not dizzy. So here she comes down, and I'm going to throw this at her. Here, hold on. Here she comes down. Here we go. Okay, hold on, hold on. Ready? Green. Oh, and it's a bad throw, too. I'm not good at throwing in gloves. The kids are always like, "Could you throw better?" But so, of course, I threw that Hiko stick at her and called the color green. So she had to catch it and pick the color green, so it's that decision making too. So as we look at more and more ways of brain training, okay, and I do work with a lot of concussion patients, and to be honest, my favorite part to this whole story is I work with everyone with a brain. So in the last 5 years that we expanded the company, so we went from 28 years of sports figure skating equipment. 5 years ago in 2020, which remember 2020? First time ever to expand your company. Terrible idea. We did. So we expanded in 2020, so just about 5 years ago, and with the goal to help everyone with a brain. And so over the last 5 years, we've worked with people aging, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, amputees, a lot of concussions. ADHD. I'm very excited about the ADHD work. I'm very excited. Children with autism, elite athletes, Olympians, NBA, NFL, NHL. We've also worked with the U.S. military, and we've worked on several events and had several veterans and active duty war fighters work with us. And oh, what an adventure. Like I was talking about, it's an adventure. Like every day in our training room, there's always a new piece of chaos. And really going back to those ADHD kids, I'm very honored to see their improvements and the kids really having wonderful lives where I felt like they were really off track. The other interesting thing here in the United States, and I'm told this, and granted, policies change, but at present, if the kids are on Adderall or Ritalin or ADHD medication, they're ineligible for the U.S. military. Oh no, like all the scholarship money and really for a lot of children and young men, that's a wonderful opportunity for the U.S. military and a safety net and all these other pieces of the importance of the U.S. military for young men and young women. But they're not eligible if they're on, ADHD medications. So, that's I don't think a lot of moms and dads realize that you really have to look at the kids' futures and job professions as you make these choices as parents. And I think we as a society can agree that it it's not healthy, of the medications and the things with the kids. And I think we can all easily agree too, the kids are getting way too much screen time and way too much sitting, which I just read a paper talking about how kids that aren't moving enough, their balance is off because they haven't developed their vestibular systems because they're sitting on their butts all day. And because of that, their anxiety is up. So part of all of these kids with really bad anxiety problems, it's coming from their vestibular system and not enough movement and spinning and turning and hopping and flipping and being kids and running through the forest and tripping and catching themselves. Like all of those pieces that they really need to be doing as children, they're not getting enough of. And we see this in the children's anxiety levels.
And I think anyone, I mean, even as an adult, I would rather be moving around my house all day. I helped, my daughter move some things the other day, boxes and things like that. Or, I mean, you're done, you're tired, but you don't feel anxious. You don't feel stressed because you were up moving and lifting and using your muscles and your body. You feel good. Whereas if I sit at the computer all day, oh, I'm just a mess at the end of the day. I just feel bad for people that their jobs entail that because mine doesn't. But if it did, I don't think I would stay at the job long. Because I have to move. I actually have like a little rebounder mini tramp, you know, in the room next to where my desk is. And so I get up and I jump on my rebounder or, go for a walk. So yeah, so if kids are sitting and just playing games or sitting on their phone, it's a whole lot different than when we grew up and we were outside playing.
My mom locked the door as a kid. When it's dark, I'm a hose drinking kid. So, but and these are things that I think we really all agree on. And I always talk about, I don't need to see a research paper on that. I know this. We know this as a society. I don't need a research paper. People need to get out. They need to move. They need to move their heads. And the more still that head is, the worse it gets. That isn't a direction towards health and wellness. That is something that's easily spinnable. So, but yeah, I always love to talk about my concussion patients because it's so fun seeing them come back, and that's really some of my work with the military and veterans and blast concussions and concussions. And it's been really extraordinary work and seeing everyone regain their lives. And the question I get all the time is, well, how often do you do this? And it's really the first time you work with me, people assume it's a feeling of vertigo. And by the way, what vertigo really is a pooling of the gel on one side of the canals, and then the other ones kind of go dry. And that's what that feeling of vertigo is, where you've got too much gel in one canal and your life is upside down. And you're crawling to the bathroom and you're crying because it's terrifying, that feeling of complete loss of balance and vertigo. So the first time you work with me, it's not that feeling at all. And of course, the goal is to get you up to a stimulated point. But of course, not to vomit, not to be, yeah, I could do that to you, but I won't. Okay. Nobody gets sick on my watch. And so in that first usage, it's almost like I call it like a spidey sense. It's an alertness. It's a snap, your brain. And in all the videos, you can see me tell the person, like I make a sound effect, like bring your brain back to center, because it's almost like you can feel your brain when you work with me. It's the weirdest feeling that people don't dislike. It's really kind of fun. Once you do it, you're like, well, that was weird and super fun. So it's an alertness. It's a spidey sense. It's a spatial. It's a reset. It's just that snap of an alert. So the results last for most people about 3 days. So a lot of my clients work with me 1 or 2 days a week, although my athletes work with me 7 days a week. And I work with a batch of kids from the Ukraine and Russia that live here in the United States now, who told me they were doing it 3 times a day in Russia. Go Russia. Okay. So like I'm not the only one that's figured out vestibular. Others have too. So like they're using it on their athletes in Russia at a really intense rate. But the nice part for all of us is at the 6 to 8 week mark, it really sticks. So at 6 to 8 weeks, I really have a hard time getting you dizzy. So even though I'm spinning you every time a little faster, a little longer, a little faster, a little longer, your brain adjusts to it and I can't make you dizzy. So the 6 to 8 week mark is also where the PTs and the OTs and the nutritionists say their projects really stick also as humans. Unfortunately, as humans, you can't just jog once and lose 100 pounds. You just can't spin with me once and solve all your problems. That's not the case. It really does take some consistency and training. That I think that's true for everyone. Really, like we're humans, this is how it works. So with that, it really is exciting to see when I do offer people less time. I'm like, okay, we made the 8 week mark. You're doing great. Do you want to come like every other week or once a month? Do you want to just cut back? You can. People always are like, no, I'm happy. I'll see you next week. I'll see you Tuesday and Friday. It's like, okay, but like it really is a fun process, and it really is a skill builder that people really enjoy doing. It's not how we assume we would feel on the gear. It's not a tilt-a-whirl. It's really not like, well, a tilt-a-whirl. Oh, that looks awful. No, it's nothing like that. It's a very gentle spinning process.
Mhm. Now you mentioned even like Parkinson's patients or people who have that. And I know that dancing or movement helps with that because they usually, shake or move at rest when they're supposed to be still. So how does it work with them? Any
So, to be honest, this is where my PhD research coordinator and my chief medical officer are available to consult with other doctors exactly per patient. Absolutely available. The answer is with the vestibular moving, getting that fluid moving, and we do lots of other little tiny gentle exercises while spinning. So we do a midline cross, and boy, that midline cross is really, really difficult in that aging. Um, in brain injury community. Because if your right brain controls your left side, your left brain controls your right side, to cross that midline, both hemispheres have to talk. And boy, that doesn't sound hard, because we can do this easily ourselves right now till you can't, and that's where you see people that can only get the drink to here have to switch hands to move it over here. They can't move it across them because of the brain injury. So with Parkinson's, and to be honest, I'm really excited about doing more and more with that group. Although the way we really look at it in our company too is that what we manufacture all the gear here in the United States, and then we train the specialists. Okay, so we're the trainers that train the trainers, and with that one unit can help 1,000 people. So what's that person's specialty? Is it sports? Is it basketball? Is it baseball? Is it children with autism? Is it children with ADHD? That one unit could help 1,000 of their clients. Is your specialty Parkinson's or OT or PTSD or what is your specialty? So the goal is really to get the gear into the hands of the specialists to really help in a community center, in a gym, in all of these places that really people have access to. I talk about libraries. I also see every unit in a library, and I think my marketing specialist is like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, in libraries, It would be wonderful for them,
libraries, hotels, bed and breakfast?
Absolutely, schools,
Mhm.
community centers, like we see ourselves everywhere. We even have teamed up because like it's funny in most industries people fight within their industries, and we've teamed up in our industry. So we've teamed up with several other neuro companies to really put out some neuro labs, and there's a big announcement coming in about 30 days. I can't tell you, maybe after in the notes, we'll post it. In about 30 days, I have a big announcement. But we've teamed up with NeuroTracker, the moving ball game that we just think is phenomenal for brain training. Another company called Dynavision, Interactive, that really has like a tap where you really have to react to. There's another company called Maverick that kind of looks like a 3D dome. Like as a child, remember those like geodesic little domes you'd climb through? It's small, it's personalized with light pods all over it. So you have to move above you, under you, behind you. You know, it's a lot of head movement, a lot of vestibular movement. It's a great product. And then we're also teaming up with a balance mat company that I'm really fond of. It's a company called Balance Training Systems. So we can pre and post test and see how much you've improved in your balance. And this is one of my favorite examples. So in just a 20-second eyes open, he went from 16 centimeters of movement, and he was in the 55th percentile, to post test after 5 minutes of spinning with me. He's down to 12 centimeters in this 86th percentile. So we have all of these great data points of tracking people in pre and post testing and teaming up with other neuro companies. We're also super fond of another company called SmartFit. Oh my gosh, what a fantastic company they are for movement, and they can make it real competitive. They have like 3 screens up so that athletes can really compete against each other and get that brain moving. Phenomenal company, SmartFit. And I'm also really fond of another company called Reaxing, which is kind of like a treadmill, but it moves on you. So it's kind of more like a Bosu ball treadmill. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, but you know, when you're running on it, it really feels more like real life of running through like a yard or a trail, you know. So really when you get off it, you are sharp. Ooh, your brain is just firing. It's really worked hard. It's a workout. So all of these companies are really teaming up for a lot of projects that we really want to bring to schools, and even office space. Like I talk about a trucking company, you know, a trucking company where the guys could do a lot of neuro activity prior to driving that giant truck on the beltway. You know, like that just makes total sense to me. So we're really excited about that. But even someplace like Morgan Stanley, get back to the office, have a neuro lab in the office, and keep those employees really functional and happy and active in a way that we're all lacking right now. So yeah, so like we're obsessed with everyone with a brain worldwide. We really feel like we can really team up with other companies too to get people exactly what they need.
That sounds beautiful. And I think there's more and more, companies that are putting wellness programs in and wanting their employees to be at the top of their game. Because, like I said, I don't know how they sit at a computer all day. But imagine if, that was your job and, you know, for your break, you could go spin for 5 minutes. Hey, you
Right?
come back all excited and energized and feeling good.
You're like, let's go, you know, like bring it, you know, like I'm so excited. So, you know, and that just seems like an obvious thing. I always talk about with my especially my ADHD teenage boys that, you know, really as is as developing humans, they would have stood shoulder to shoulder with their dad and the other men and decided how to take down the mastodon as a group. Okay. That's how he would have learned. That's how he would have grown up, not sitting on his butt in class 8 hours a day and then sitting at home playing video games or screens all night. You know, like that's not how a human being develops. And I think we really need to look at our educational system. We really need to look at obviously screen time and video game time and like duh. You know, it's such a duh statement that I really think we really need to focus on that and really make changes for the health of these children and what are they learning and how are they learning, and visual learners versus auditory learners. And there's a lot of pieces to this that we really need to address in our educational system.
So if people wanted to connect with you, work with you, how do they find you?
Oh my gosh, I feel like we're everywhere. Like I went crazy, extra crazy on LinkedIn. So I'm all over LinkedIn. And of course, our company is called Vestibular Training Services, which cracks me up because people can't spell vestibular until they have to learn to spell vestibular because they have an issue. So we also renamed the website spinyourbrain.com. So I made your life easier. So spinyourbrain.com, but we also have vestibular training services on Instagram and Facebook, but really, LinkedIn has its own page, which is lovely. And I'm fascinated by who follows it. Like I kind of scroll through like all the new followers, and I'm like, wow, that's a big name. Oh, I thought that's wow. Like I'm always fascinated the people that follow the page. It's very impressive. So really I love LinkedIn. Of course, there's all the contacts on there for emails and phones and all that other good stuff. But we really do have teams worldwide, and we do have all our manufacturing here in the States. So we ship worldwide, easy to move gear around. We do speak at tons of conferences. And I just got home from the Sports Philanthropies World Conference in Chicago last week. And my topic, I was on a panel on concussions. And the people in that room, I'm so honored. I mean, talk about the world of 501(c)(3)s and the people that are really looking to change the world with all their different philanthropy groups really coming together. And what an honor to be at a project like that. So we really do lots of demos and projects and events, but I'm also based here in Minneapolis. So I'm always like, oh, come visit, come hang out with us for a day or so in Minneapolis, come spin and train. Um, we we have a little tiny training room. It's little and it's great. And we'll pre and post test balance and have a wonderful time. So I invite, of course, caregivers, doctors, PTs, OTs, teachers, specialists that really can bring this to a big clientele. That is what the goals of this company are.
Well, thank you. So now I have a personal question for you. What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
I'm obsessed with this. I think it comes off it's truly genuine. I really am obsessed with how many people I can help, and the goal of changing the world, and not sounding like a cornball for saying that. I mean, like I want to change the world. No, I really want to change the world. I do have to say, helping me really is my family. My family's been phenomenal, supportive, and my family is really outstanding people that are helping me. They also dog sit for me because we have two huge Newfoundlands. And so I do need some dog sitters possibly here in Minneapolis. I got some dog sitting issues, but I really have this extraordinary support system that is making all of this possible.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing all this wonderful information.
I'm so grateful for your time and these opportunities and leadership. Thank you so much. I'm truly honored to be here, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. And I have one last question before we finish. What is your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
Pick who you work with. Okay, I just got off a call with one of my friends, Buddy Lee, who's a really famous jump rope specialist. Oh my goodness, there's an amazing story for you. And Buddy Lee and I were talking about working with people we liked and that not just supported us, but really saw the vision and were there to protect the vision around you. And boy, I've met some really unpleasant people in my career. Haven't we all? We could all sit here and talk about that really horrible person that you worked with years ago that still bugs you all these years later, that still takes up space in your head. And really the goal of this company is that I can work with people that I really love and care about and trust, and we can just keep moving forward. We don't have to do any weird backward pedaling from dealing with people that aren't there as part of the team. So I'm grateful that there's a couple. I'm like, okay, somebody else deal with this person. I am not, and I'm very grateful that I work with people I love and care about.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Sheila. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you again. Have a wonderful day. I really appreciate your time.